Hi, welcome to John's Property Market Update. I'm Sandra Falzon and I'm joined by our CEO of InfoTrack, John Ahern. Hi, John.
Hi, Sandra.
So today you're going to talk to us about regional centres and their popularity with first-home buyers.
Yes, thanks, Sandra. We spend a lot of time looking at the cities on the eastern seaboard because often that's where the action is. But I'd like to draw attention during this update to the regional centres. The data certainly indicates there's plenty of action and some refreshing standouts to speak about.
Do you want to share some of the data updates with us, John?
Yeah, thanks, Sandra. We did just release our latest market data, and it means now we have a complete view of the entire last financial year, and it paints an interesting picture for sure. Firstly, across New South Wales as a whole, despite the heated activity in March, the market slowed a little, and that's likely due to the initial stage of the first home loan deposit scheme finishing up. As consumer confidence rises, investors are certainly starting to come back into the market, creating real competition. But overall, first home buyer activity remains positive.
Well, that's good to hear, John. And since the latest update, what is the new data showing?
Our May and June data tell us that the hottest suburbs are still those outer western suburbs of Sydney, like Austral and Marsden Park. However, in the regions, there is a lot more variety in the types of suburbs that first home buyers are going for.
And how so?
Well, for example, the hottest regional suburb that first home buyers are targeting is Hamlin Terrace. Hamlin Terrace is on the Central Coast and the average property has 3 bedrooms with a median price of about $540,000.
So many of us are mixing working from home these days with heading into the office. And so Central Coast isn't that far for people to commute should they still hold jobs in Sydney, John. So it makes sense that this area is the hottest for first home buyers.
That's right, Sandra. We are all working from home, even at InfoTrack. What is also interesting though is that Wagga Wagga is the next hottest area in the regions for first home buyers.
And that's a fair distance from Sydney.
Yeah, that's right, Sandra. The median price, though, for a 3-bedroom property in Wagga is $435,000, and it comes with decent land too.
And why do you think the house and land is popular at the moment?
Well, there's a couple of home buyer schemes available that are encouraging first home buyers to take up house and land packages. And one way to do that is to head to the regions where, frankly, there's more space.
And what are these schemes, John?
Firstly, there is the first home loan deposit scheme. We saw the first round of those offers finish up in April, which reflects the small dip in first home buyer activity that we talked about earlier. But another 10,000 places have just been released this financial year for first home buyers to gather a 5% deposit. And that's now available until June the 30th, 2022. There's also the new home guarantee, which also has 10,000 places available until June 30, 2022. And that one supports first home buyers to build or buy a new home with higher property price caps available in selected areas. Now, these caps are far too easily exhausted in the city, so first home buyers are looking for options elsewhere.
So Hamlin Terrace and Wagga Wagga, what else, John?
Well, third on the top 10 most popular regional areas for first home buyers is Gosford. That's also on the Central Coast, but it's a bit further south and closer to Sydney than Hamlin Terrace. A 3-bedder in Gosford goes for $575,000, so it's a bit more expensive than Hamlin Terrace, and that's likely due to its Sydney city proximity. Hamlin Terrace and Gosford aren't neighbouring suburbs, but they're only 23 kilometres apart, which isn't too far in a regional context. Dubbo, Bathurst and Tamworth are 4th, 5th and 6th on the regional list respectively. Now these are truly regional areas that don't need proximity to Sydney because they have well formed their own regional centres. All 3 have major hospitals and Dubbo and Bathurst offer easy access to on-campus universities as well.
But these are not as popular as the Western Sydney suburbs, John?
Well, first home buyers aren't moving to the regions in droves, but there is certainly still demand for suburbs with easy access to central Sydney, so that's good news for investors. But there is some movement, Sandra. Hamlin Terrace is more popular than Liverpool, for example, and the new data shows Wagga Wagga, Dubbo and Tamworth all rank more highly with first home buyers compared to, say, Penrith or Blacktown. Generally speaking, areas like Penrith and Blacktown are becoming far more built up and prices are rising, so there's pressure for first home buyers who might have a young family or be looking to start one. Locations like the regions offer larger houses with more land and a community feel.
That's good to know. And what else is the data showing us?
Well, Sandra, you might have questions about the first home buyer future hotspots. Because the newest data release gives us some insight into the last financial year, we can now see that some regional areas have really benefited. Take Albury, for example. This time last year, first home buyers in Albury were in the single digits. Now we're seeing almost 3 times as many first home buyers making purchases in that postcode.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, Albury is an interesting one for sure because it's a border town. You know, technically it's in New South Wales, but it's close to the Victorian border. So it might be possible to attribute some of that movement to what's occurred in Victoria over the last 6 to 12 months, as well as New South Wales. The average 3-bedroom home in Albury will set you back $620,000, so far more expensive than some of our other leaders. And that's probably a contributor as to why Albury ranked 9th in the top 10 most popular regional suburbs.
And where else in the regions might first home buyers be making moves to?
Yeah, Sandra, another interesting up and coming regional location is Cessnock, situated in the lovely Hunter Valley in New South Wales.
Are people moving for the wine, John?
Oh, I don't know if it's the wine, Sandra. I certainly would move there for that. Cessnock is far more popular than its immediate surrounding suburbs. First home buyer activity in Cessnock has doubled over the last 12 months, and data from the last 2 months puts it now on par in popularity to suburbs like Cogra and Kingswood, both of which are Sydney-centric. Being one of the bigger towns in the Hunter Valley, Cessnock provides the amenities that first home buyers are looking for. The average 3-bedder in Cessnock goes for about $379,000, and there is currently an abundance of stock available. It's also only a 23-minute drive from Rutherford, which ranked 7th in the top 10 most popular regional areas for first home buyers.
So Cessnock and Albury, the ones to keep an eye on for future updates, John. We're back in lockdown in New South Wales. Do you have an early insight into market activity for this financial year?
Yes, Sandra, we are starting to see the time on market expand for sure. Auctions are starting to slip from July into August, but you know what? We're in lockdown and we've been here before. We know what will happen. Once the lockdowns end, things will free up. And if lockdowns end and spring hits early, I think we can expect to see a real flurry of activity. But we'll have more on that in our next update.
Thank you so much for sharing today's data with us, John. It's really good insight and very hopeful for regional properties for first home buyers. If you'd like to know more, visit our website at infotrack.com.au and you can subscribe to John's Property Market Update. Thanks again, John.
Thanks, Sandra.